Hello, everybody. Welcome back to Campbell football season. I'm Chris Hemeyer alongside Lendl, Suggs, and we are getting set for, no lie, folks, the most exciting and difficult football schedule in Campbell football history. First off, where you can listen and watch the games. When we are on the road, every game will be free. Live audio coverage on GoCamels.com and also on the Varsity Network. It's a free app where you can get the coverage of Lendl and I bringing it to you from no matter where Campbell goes. When we are home, and the first home game of the season will be in 3 weeks when Campbell hosts Furman in the home opener. All of the home games on Flow Sports. And also this week, since it is the CAA opener, not only on Flow Sports, Lendl, but it is also going to be a free-to-social game.
Yeah, Friday Night Lights is what it looks like it's going to be. And so you can find this game for free. So if you haven't ponied up the money yet to get the Flow Sports, here's what you can do. You can go to YouTube at Flow College Football. That is where you can find it. You can also find it on X or Twitter and then Facebook. It'll all be live for you there. So you can find those live links, Chris, and it makes it easier for our Campbell fans to watch us no matter where they are.
Yeah, and it is starting off with a bang, folks. We're going to go through the schedule a little bit for you. Campbell, again, it's not hyperbole when we're talking about this is one of the best schedules, the best schedule, the toughest schedule that they've ever faced. And it starts off with Rhode Island. Maybe you're not familiar with Rhode Island. Again, this is just the third season in the CAA. Rhode Island was a surprise co-conference champion last year, one of their best years in program history. They are picked to win the CAA this year, and that's where Campbell will start the season, 6 o'clock this Friday night up in Kingston, Rhode Island.
Yeah, I think you mentioned it all there. The best, the most exciting, but you cannot forget that caveat. It definitely is the toughest schedule for sure. With starting off with a top 10 team in the country, that's what Campbell is going against competition-wise this year. And then you start to go down, you look at East Carolina, and then you're looking at Furman and all these great teams that are going to end up coming into Bowie's Creek, or we're traveling to meet them somewhere. This team is going to be all over the country, all up and down the East Coast. So it is a great opportunity and a great chance for our fans to come and see us and to watch what this product is going to be this year. But not only is it just that, it gets a chance to really see where this Campbell football team is in the Braxton Harris era.
No doubt. Year two of the Braxton Harris era. And again, he has had to rebuild this team in his own image. And this is really a year where he feels Lendl, that everybody is on board, everybody that has chosen Campbell, that has chosen him, and that gives him confidence going into this season.
Yeah, a complete overhaul, Chris, is what I would say, looking at last year's roster to this one, the pieces that he was able to turn over. When he came in his first year, it was a great turnover when he came in, and then doing it again. That is what's needed when you want to shake up a program. You got to get the right kids on the bus. And so that is what has happened. I think this year, though, what we have in the locker room is a buy-in to a different system. These are students that want to be here. These are student athletes that are ready and prepared and buying in, and there's nothing more evident than the football GPA is best than it's ever been. So if they're doing the right things in the classroom, that tells you that they are disciplined enough to probably do the right things on the field. So it's going to be an exciting season to see where they end up this year.
Absolutely, and they'll be challenged from the start, as we talked about. Rhode Island, again, the best in the CAA, at least preseason, but ranked in the top 10 in the nation, number 9 right now. And then in 2 weeks, they go at East Carolina. Of course, that's a game that many fans from around these parts, some that wear a little bit of purple and gold along with their orange, will want to see. Absolutely. You'll be wearing orange for that one. And of course, after that, then we open up 3 straight home games here at Barker Lane Stadium. We talked about Furman, a SoCon team that was in the top 25 for most of the year last year. That's who Campbell will start off against on September 13th at 3:30.
Yeah, this Furman team, we're talking about a powerhouse in the SoCon. The SoCon is not a lousy football conference that you just scoff at. I mean, there are great teams that have been perpetual winners. And so Furman coming to us not only widens that net and scope of recruitment and all those other things, but it brings in different fan bases that may have never crossed paths just because of conference alignment. And then you get a quality opponent. You can ask for better. I mean, it's a win-win-win-win. And the only thing that you can do with that is just win.
Absolutely. Campbell will then, their fourth game of the season, second home game in a row, they'll take on Bryant. Bryant is another football-only member of the CAA. That'll be a 6 o'clock game. Big because it is a conference game, number one, but big as well because after the game, fireworks at a Campbell football game for the first time in program history.
Yeah, and this is the second time we'll play Bryant. The second time it'll be a conference matchup, considering that they are a team that's in the upper northeast. I don't know how that's worked out. But this time we get them at home, and it's going to be a different because last time it was a dogfight. And so we'll see what Campbell can do this time with Bryant in the building because even though that was a different iteration of this football team, it still stings. So I'm for sure that the guys are going to get up, especially for the second home matchup.
Yeah, and you might have already forgotten, but Bryant was for a short amount of time a football-only member of the Big South Conference where the two teams met as conference foes in November up in Rhode Island as well. Campbell will end their opening season homestand, game 3 of 3 at home, game 5 overall against Western Carolina. Western Carolina, like last year when Campbell went up to Cullowhee and beat them top 25 team, they're in the top 20 again this year, ranked 18th in the country. They are not going to overlook Campbell when they come down here at 3:30 on September 27th.
Now, when I get the schedule, I always circle a game, and this is the game that I definitely circled on the calendar as you need to be here no matter what because this is going to be a dogfight. You've got a Western Carolina team who's going to come in and be good and would probably say they didn't play their best brand of football when we went to Cullowhee. And then you have a Campbell team who's looking to prove that win was not a fluke from last season. So these two teams aren't going to clash, this time in a different setting, in a different environment. So the question becomes, can Campbell repeat the magic that they had early last season? It's going to be an interesting matchup to see where these two teams fall at the end of the final buzzer.
We need you at Barker Lane Stadium. Still season tickets on sale now, of course, as the home schedule doesn't start till week 3 of the season. 6 home games this year. Single game tickets are on schedule right now. If you want to get your homecoming ticket, right now you have to do it through the mini plan or through the season ticket plan. And that was just the first half of the schedule. Campbell will go at NC State on October 4th. That is a rarity as Campbell will be playing 2 FBS teams in one season. The first time Campbell ever goes up to Raleigh.
Yeah, to walk into Carter Finley, it'll be a daunting task because there's a lot that has happened in that historic football stadium, but the opportunity to be put on the map and whether you want to say it or not, Western Carolina last year gave NC State a run for their money in that game. So it is not always just a guarantee check going up there. I feel a fire in this team that they believe that they can beat anybody. So that'll be the real test in the season to see how they carry on. And that could be either a turnaround or a launching point for the rest of the schedule. I like where it is in the schedule because it's a home game or it's an away game that might can act like a home game with how close it is.
Yeah, absolutely. And I will give you this warning right now. We want you to get your tickets so you can come to all 6 Campbell home games. But I know a lot of you are really excited about going up the road and seeing Campbell play in Carter Finley Stadium for the first time. The game is sold out unless you go to gocamels.com and on the football schedule page, the ticket link, there is a limited amount of tickets that are available just for Campbell fans. It'll get you in the Campbell section in the upper deck, section 9, and it's at a really good price point. It's going to be up for a couple more weeks. So if you want to go in your orange, if you don't want to pay a lot for it, go right now in the next couple of days and get your tickets to get up to Carter Finley Stadium.
Absolutely.
Campbell will then, on the second half of the season, they will start on the road at Hampton. That's a CAA game. And then October 18th, 3:30 p.m., Campbell returns home for the homecoming game New Hampshire, another football-only member of the CAA, another really good football team. Right now they're receiving votes, so by that time in the schedule and that time in the season, Campbell could be playing their third-ranked opponent.
Yeah, and I think it is evident that if you look at the entire schedule, as we will, by the time you get to the bottom, it is likely that some of these members will be ranked because of their perpetual good football seasons that they have put together and strung together over the years. These are great programs, and New Hampshire coming in will be a great test, especially on homecoming, where it'll be the loudest environment that Campbell can produce, and we'll see with all the excitement what this football team really looks like by homecoming time.
Campbell then hits the road again, just the quick trip to Greensboro to take on CAA member NC-A&T, and then back home for the final two home games of the season, both CAA matchups, both in November. November 8th at 2 p.m. versus William and Mary, and November 15th at 2 p.m. against rival Elon. What a way to end the home schedule.
Yeah, and then the finale with the William and Mary team that Campbell's looking to beat for the first time. These two teams going back and forth with the travel, but the last time we'll play as conference foes will be here at Barker Lane Stadium, and then of course the in-state rivalry with Elon, who has seemingly become the new high point around here. Elon coming down, and so you end the schedule really with fan bases that we know will travel, but it will show us where we really stand, not only in the state, but really in the region.
Yeah, for us fans, just a phenomenal schedule, both on the road and at home. William and Mary, as Lendl pointed out, is going to leave the CAA after this year for football only. They will stay in the CAA for everything else. They will end the year November 22nd up at Towson. We caught up a lot with Braxton Harris over the last couple of weeks, including last night, our first Camel Call live show at Napper Tandy's, and he is as excited as we are about this team that he has really shaped in his own image.
Yeah, I like the direction that our young men are going. I thought one of the things we talked about as a staff is that we wanted to bring kids to Campbell, to Buies Creek, that see Campbell as an opportunity, that they see an opportunity for them to be able to be a great student athlete. They get a private school education at one of the premier private schools in the state of North Carolina, and then they want to play Division I football in the CAA, which is one of the best conferences in the country. This is not a stepping stone place. We want people that come here, that want to invest here, that want the opportunities that we have, and they see it as that. When you look at something the same, you're able to connect a little bit quicker. And in this stage of college football, where we brought in 25 newcomers just in the summer, you're trying to get all those guys. You're trying to get 105 guys to connect, and some of them, I mean, a quarter of your team, maybe you've only had for 2 months in that spot. So how do you connect them in that spot? Well, you bring in like-minded kids. And if they're like-minded, you're able to connect quicker in that spot. And that's what I really like about our young men.
He's excited about this team, Lendl, and this is a team that did not have a lot of experience last year. A lot of those guys are back. And then they have done some really strategic recruiting out of the portal. Yes, if the opportunity was there, that they got some guys that were recruited out of high school and played at FBS teams, maybe didn't get a lot. They've got some Power 4 guys on the roster, but they specifically went after guys that were in the portal that had played a lot of snaps at the FCS level, and they're going to bring in guys that are new to Campbell, but not to FCS football and experience, and I think that's going to go a long way, especially early in this season.
Yeah, I think that was the smart strategy for Coach Harris and his coaching staff, because when you bring in guys that have the wealth of knowledge and the amount of snaps that they do have, it provides veteran steelness, calmness, and discipline on the field. So penalties that we were having last year, as we were the most penalized team in the CAA, I think that is no secret at this point. You are not expecting, when you recruit these guys, to have that same amount of turnover and penalty this year because of the veteran leadership that they have. Now, at the end of the day, in the age of the portal, it would be a surprise if one student athlete stayed on one team for all of their years of collegiate football. But right now, when you have guys that have had experience at this level, who understand what it takes to win or have seen it, they can spread that knowledge around. And that becomes infectious with the team, and that allows the team to grow and become what they will become and succeed higher than this program ever has.
It's exciting when you talk about adding some pieces, and as you say, returning guys. Campbell returns the man who was their starting quarterback at the end of last year. Mike Chandler thrust into that role because of injury. They've added a couple of other transfers. Cam Sixkiller, who is from McNeese State, and also a Lenore Rhine transfer in Jalen Ferguson. And when we were talking to Matt Kubik, the offensive coordinator, it was interesting because he said, we might have the deepest quarterback room in the entire nation in terms of guys that have started FCS games.
Yeah, I mean, when you look at the quarterback room, you go, okay, yeah, this guy can start. This guy has experience. This guy looks like a quarterback. So in reality, if we're going to be honest, your guess is as good as ours.
Yeah.
I mean, everyone has great talents and abilities that they're able to use, so anyone can do anything. Like Coach Harris told us, he's got 3 guys that he really, really, really likes. And when you watch them practice and you watch them walk through, you can tell why there is something to like about each individual guy. So I'm glad I'm not the one in the coaching seat that has to divide the minutes. So however it shakes out, however it works out, that is a Matt Kubik and Braxton Harris issue that I'm glad I don't have to deal with.
Yeah, on the two deep, which shows every week who your starters are and who is the backup to all the football teams in the nation. It's Mike Chandler or Jalen Ferguson or Camden Sixkiller in the offensive two deep under the QB slot for Campbell. Randall King returns as a sensational freshman year local product from Rocky Mount. He got to the body. He looks like a receiver, and for him to return says a lot about him and says a lot about where he thinks this program's going.
I know in freshman stories last year, his got buried because of J.J. Cowan, but Randall King is a specimen at wide receiver. I believe personally, just watching him, his physique, his speed, you can put him at any place on the field that you want, and he will succeed. You're dangerous if you let him anywhere in open space. Now, of course, that kind of got overshadowed with the spectacular receiving core that we had in last year's team. But he now is thrusted really into being circled on the depth chart because nobody knows what this team looks like. So he is the one voice in our face that is going to get circled, and the question is, how does he handle wide receiver one pressure? We'll find out Friday.
Yeah, Spencer Jones is a name that you will see a lot of, a Penn State transfer that also will get the start at wide receiver. You mentioned J.J. Cowan, one of the best stories, a walk-on from literally 5 minutes down the road from campus. That way he received a scholarship in the offseason. He's going to be a big part. Mark Biggins comes back, transferred into this program last year, battled some injuries, but he's going to be back, and it's really a deep running back core. They're excited about this offensive line. They were inexperienced last year. They have returned many starters from the year before and added in some starters from the portal. They like their tight ends as well. And as we heard from Braxton Harris, he can tell you a lot more about this offense that he's really excited about.
I think that's a big piece for us, is that we felt like getting here, I guess it was 21 months ago when we started this journey, right, is we feel like we had to recruit North Carolina. And you look at our roster, over 50% of our roster is from North Carolina, South Carolina right there. And we had to win that, and we had to bring kids back. And that's what we did in the transfer portal. We brought a lot of kids that left the state and come back to the state, come back home in that spot. And Randall's a great example of that. JJ's a great example of that. JJ continued to get better all spring, all summer. Agility, quickness, he's doing a really good job of that. Mark is Mark. Mark does a great job. Mark's got a great film. He's a great leader in those aspects. And then, like you said, Randall King as a receiver, being able to move him around. I think one of the key pieces I think Coach Kubik, our offensive coordinator, does is he's not just going to line up outside. He could play a slot receiver. We could put him in the backfield. We could snap him the ball at quarterback. We can do a ton of different things with him, and I think Matt does a really good job of being creative. And a guy like Randall, that's a kid that he was a true freshman from Northern Nash, right, that lifted 4 days a week his freshman year because he wanted to be in the Devo group and he wanted to grow and develop and get better right there. And he works his tail off. Yesterday was our Tuesday. But how this week goes, I'm so jacked up on what day it is. But it was our Tuesday, and he hit over 90% of his top speed on a Tuesday, which doesn't really happen that often.
No, and you also, there are a few programs this size in the country that can bring back a starting running back, a starting wide receiver, and then Mike Chandler, a QB, to bring him back and his talent. That says something about what you're building, how they believe in you, and what an advantage.
Well, I think they believe in each other too. I think that's a big piece of it. I think they've grown those connections together that they want to finish and they want to see through what they started. And the guys that were here last year, 3-9, didn't sit good in anybody's mouth. Nobody felt good about that. Nobody was happy with that. And since then, we told the group of guys, man, if you will stay here and you will commit to this thing, we will bring in guys that are like-minded, and we promise to bring in guys that think like you, talk like you, that desire the same things, and we protected that. You be you, and we'll bring in more just like you in that spot. And so I think those guys bought into that. They believed in that, and I think they've been excited about the guys we'll be able to bring in because they have been those things. Their actions have been those things. And so I think that's the most exciting thing.
Defensive side of the ball, Lendl, as a lot of what we were talking about with the offense, also for the defense, some guys that maybe didn't have that much experience last year got a lot of experience as the season went on, and now you really feel like you have a good core on the defensive side.
I mean, defensively, this team, when you have the leadership of JoJo Pace back there, who is a high energy, fly around kind of guy that will do whatever you ask him to do, you're bringing in a lot of experience from him, getting that experience last year being thrusted into a leadership role. But then you've got Logan Livermore, who is coming back to be a defensive anchor. This team really defensively, I think, will shock a lot of people because of how many points they allowed last year. So I think a lot of people are discounting them. But defensively, if this team just has to play sound, they don't have to be perfect. They don't have to force a lot of turnovers. They just have to be sound. If you can be sound in the CAA and stop the run, you will accomplish a whole lot.
Braxton Harris agrees with you, and he told us more about his defense last night on Camel Call Live.
That's a group of guys. Brandon Guzman, who was a preseason all-conference kid that came in last year for us, came in the summer for us last year, and so went through the season, went through spring, went through summer, and had a really good spring and summer for us, returning at corner. And if you got a corner in this day and age, you got an opportunity. We think him and Marquise Alexander is another kid that I think are at the bookends of the corner for us right there that I think are really experienced. They played a lot of football. They're taller, bigger corners, which in the CA you have to be able to have that because you're going to get bigger, taller receivers in that. And so really excited about those guys. And then you look at our front guys. We rebuilt that room drastically from last football season to January. We brought in guys. Raymond Macias is a kid that I actually recruited the first time I was here from California. He's going to continue to be the interior piece for us. And just the consistency that Raymond lives his life. And it's not just football. It's how he lives his life. He's going to continue to be a big part in that. You look at Amari Wilson that has been here since high school in that spot. He's grown and developed at an end. You're looking at Justin Garza, a transfer kid from JUCO kid that's a defensive end. He's from Texas. Now, I'm kind of partial to kids from Texas, obviously, but he's done a really good job for us in that spot. And we got a plethora of other guys that you could be able to name in that spot. And then you go to the linebackers right there, Logan Livermore. Logan's played a lot of snaps. I coached Logan when he was a walk-on linebacker here, and so just to see his progression as a young man, he got engaged this summer, so he's floating on cloud 9 right now in that, and he's done an incredible job. We brought in Kalen Villanueva, a transfer from UConn that's really got a ton of game experience from UConn that wanted the opportunity to be the guy here, and he's getting that. We've got Dontavian Pettis right there at a will linebacker right there that transferred in from the Citadel. We think he's a huge piece of it. And the Lakeem Rudolph to the field is a guy as well that's played a lot of football for us here at Campbell and just continues to get better each and every day in those spots.
We got you up to speed on the Camels, and as we talked about at the beginning of our preview, what a test off the bat. On the one hand, you are going to know where you stand at least early in the season because you're taking on a top 10 team in the country. Rhode Island not only favored to win the CAA, not only the defending conference champs, but they are ranked number 9 in the nation. You will know where you stand after the game Friday night at 6.
Yeah, Friday is going to be a test, and It's reminiscent of an old era of Campbell football where you didn't play the traditional Saturday game, but this time it's on the road under the Friday night lights, and you will have the entire CAA watching this game because it will determine what the heck is going on in Bowie's Creek and what really is going on in Kingston, Rhode Island. And these two teams are going to clash together. And I think the interesting thing is Rhode Island, being co-CAA champions last year, they didn't pop off the page at the beginning of the year. Many people really discounted them. But what they do well, Chris, is sound disciplined football, and as you know, you see many games, that'll win you a whole lot of football games.
Yeah, and it's good that the team is going up to Kingston, Rhode Island in August because it's going to be really, really good weather. Remember, Campbell was up there last year and played this Rhode Island team really, really tough. If a couple of different plays go their way, they probably win the game. The big story for Rhode Island and why they have such high expectations, they return a lot of starters, but they return their quarterback, Devin Farrell, a 6 foot, 195-pound redshirt junior. Interesting story in this portal era. After the great year he and Rhode Island had in the fall, he transferred to FBS program Memphis.
Yeah.
After spring ball, he transferred back. Rhode Island gladly took him back, so they returned their starter with a little bit of mist in the spring. But he is the story, and he's the reason why people are so high on the Rhode Island Rams.
Hey, if anybody from the NCAA is watching this, can we get a hold of this portal stuff, please? But I think he maybe didn't like the Mississippi River and decided the Atlantic was much better for him, and maybe so. He might have made the right decision to come back because he already knows the playbook. He is the centerpiece of this offense, the engine of this team. He makes things go. And when he is on fire, he is a consistent, calm, cool quarterback that is decisively selective. And so he makes great reads and great decisions on where to put the ball, and his tight window ball is excellent as well.
Yeah, and it is going to be quite a game, quite a challenge. And as Braxton Harris told us, he knows what's in store for them up in Rhode Island.
You know, they're probably the most senior-laden football team in FCS college football right now. I mean, you look at the guys that they played with last year, and they returned a majority of those pieces, right? You look, headlines, A.J. Pena. He left, went to Memphis, and then saw the grass wasn't greener and went back to Rhode Island. Great story. That we need to be able to be excited about those opportunities at the FCS level, and they understand the value that university brought to him, and he came back for that. Unfortunate for us, we have to play him again because he's the real deal off the edge in that spot, and just does a really good job. They do a great job on defense. They're going to be physical. They're going to challenge us. And they got athletes in space right there. And so it's going to be a big challenge for our defense in that spot, or our offense to be able to do that. Just game planning on AJ in that spot, right? And then their quarterback, number 7 at the quarterback, he's the guy that played against us last year, got hurt at the latter part of the season. But, man, he was dynamic. He had 2 big scramble runs that were dynamic plays against us last year up there. And we're going to have to do a great job being able to manage him. They got an All-American receiver as well. And so they got the talent. 4 out of the 5 offensive linemen started for him last year, and the one that didn't start for him last year had significant snaps. And so you just look at who they are. They've done an incredible job of building a program, and that's a total respect to Coach Fleming and what they built up there, and that's who we want to be able to compete with every year.
Speaking of competing, Coach, you played up there in Rhode Island early in the season last year, and you played them really, really tough. A couple of different plays go your way, and you would have come out of there with a victory. Playing at a place where you're quote-unquote familiar with, playing against a team that you did have success against, a team that few did last year, how does that help going into this year?
Yeah, we've been living with the Rhode Island game for a calendar year, and that has never left our mind. You know, we had opportunities up there that we felt like we gave away, and that's what happens when you're a good football team. When the other team gives you something, you take it and make sure you win ball games in that spot. You know, we had opportunities to be able to score and be able to get in the end zone. We gave some opportunities away, and so that's something that we've talked about for a calendar year in our program. Is that's a team that was a second-round deep playoff team, a CAA conference champion, and you look at what we had last year, we felt like we had opportunities. Now, nobody cares about how we feel. Nobody helps in the CAA how we feel or what we think. thinking and feeling don't get us anything. We got to be able to go up there and be able to compete consistently with those guys. And, everybody says must be tough playing a number 9 team week 1. I don't know if there's a better a team for us that we would much rather be able to go compete against week 1 than Rhode Island. We're gonna know in 2 days where we stand and what we got to get better at and what we've improved at, and see where we're at. And so that's what it's all about. The practice is great, the training's great, all that stuff. But man, it's about playing games. And if you really want to be great, you want to go play the best, and we get to be able to go do that.
What a way to start the season. Friday Night Lights, as Lendl has said, a special Friday start, 6 o'clock from Kingston, Rhode Island. You can watch on Flow Sports. Also check our socials at Go Camels FB, as we will have live for the social coverage as well, if you haven't yet got your Flow subscription. Every time we are on the road, including this opener up in Rhode Island, we will bring you live audio play-by-play coverage starting 15 minutes before the kick. So at 5:45, we will be on GoCamels.com. Also, the Varsity Network app. It's free. You also, in your app store, can search Campbell Finding Camels and get the Go Camels app, which will have the free audio coverage as well, starting at 5:45. We can't wait for the season.
Absolutely.
It's going to be a great season, and we will be with you all season long. For Lendl Suggs, I'm Chris Hemeyer saying we are so happy football is back, and we hope you join us this season as it starts this Friday, 6 o'clock, as Campbell takes on Rhode Island.